into something positive and express it through a healthy way, through art or whatever, dance or whatever you could think of, and he didn't project his negative energy onto his son, then his son may never have become a hitman. His son may have never become a career murderer. His father had the power to change the destiny of his son's path simply from his way of learning how to redirect that negative energy that was projected onto him. But because his father failed to do that, he ended up projecting this negative energy onto his son, and his son became a career hitman, killing over 100 people. Alright, next quote. At the age of 18, a person at a bar made him mad, so he burned him to death by setting the car on fire while the guy was sleeping in it. Next quote. I was a hard-working expediter. I looked at myself as someone who did something that someone else wanted done, and they paid me a good price. Alright, so everybody's always asking me, well, or always stating, well, if competition fighters, they're fighting for money, they're making a living, why are you bothering them? Well, this person right here, this hitman, is making a living for killing people. He's getting 5 figures per person that he kills. So he's making a living by killing people, and that's obviously not a right thing. Society doesn't support it. The law doesn't support that. But in competition fighting, they go around certain laws, and now if you do it the right way, then you could basically make money for hurting other people. So is that right? Is that not? That's something that every individual should really meditate on and think about. You shouldn't really have to have the law and the society around you tell you what's right and what's wrong and what's good and what's not, and what is the way and what is not the way. Okay, so for example, on the streets, it's in the law books, it is illegal to gamble. You know, if you roll dice on the streets, technically that's against the law. But yet, if you go to the casino, it's not against the law. Okay, there's a lot of contradictions out there as far as the law is concerned. But if you have an intelligent mind, you'll be able to see what is the way and what's not the way. Alright, so you have to have an organized fight on the streets right now, just going outside, just fighting somebody for money, that would be against the law. That would be disorderly conduct or whatever. But now, when they have it organized in some type of, you know, having these promoters and these, you know, basically when they find a way to make money from it, where they could tax people and all other stuff, then they end up allowing it. But you gotta think for yourself, is that right? Is that the way? Is that good? One thing that I always bring up is that I see people, especially in America, they're very, you know, they love their animals, their dogs, their cats, and we watch out for their well-being. So they really look down on dog fighting, and that obviously it is against the law, it's a felony and everything. You know, just recently we had a famous football player that ended up getting arrested because of dog fighting, and it was seen as such a horrible thing, breeding dogs for fighting, for violence, and having people watch this and find pleasure and joy. But yet, with this cage fighting with the human beings, it's no different to me. In fact, it may be even worse than dog fighting. But yet, it's becoming so popular, people are getting so crazed over it, and they're promoting it rather than discouraging it. So imagine if they promoted dog fighting and it was no longer against the law, and it's something where people make lots of money. Think to yourself, is that right? Is that good? Is that right? And this cage fighting with the human beings, they're fighting for money. Is that good? Is that right? Think of it in a larger scale. Armies fighting for money. Think of it, countries fighting for money. Is that good? Is that right? You know, these decisions, I think, these things is very important to think about, into seeing why you do what you do, why you train so hard, and what really is the reason why you really started to practice how to fight. Are you really practicing martial art, or are you just becoming a skilled fighter? So when I talk about this in relations to something pretty much clearly is not good, as far as this contract killer is killing people for money, it doesn't matter if he's doing it for money or not. It's something that should be obviously clear cut to see that this is not good. But when you compare it to something as far as fighting for money, it's not that far away from it. Okay. Alright, another quote. He wanted to see if a crossbar would work, so he just killed someone with it. His brother is in prison for life for murder. At age 25, he raped and killed a 12-year-old girl. He killed many friends. The only friend he didn't kill was the one who ended up putting him in prison. And last thing I wrote is, this person is an example of a real killer, and he's more intimidating than any competition fighter. So if you watch this video, you'll see that this person is not all athletic. He's not, doesn't have like six-pack abs, probably doesn't really know how to throw a really strong, powerful punch or kick. But yet he's the most intimidating person out there. More intimidating than any competition fighter. More intimidating than any police officer or anybody that has a firearm or whatever. This person has absolutely no compassion in his heart, no care and love for human beings whatsoever. Just very cold-blooded, cold-hearted killer. Now that's the extreme. Now you gotta think to yourself, is that what you want to be? Do you want to be cold-hearted? Do you want to be cold-blooded? Do you want to be a cold-blooded, cold-hearted killer? Most people know that that's not a good thing, and they'd say, no, I don't want to be like that. That's too far. Okay, now put it in a different context. Do you want to be a cold-blooded, cold-hearted fighter? Okay, that is not too different than the cold-blooded, cold-hearted killer. Because the cold-blooded, cold-hearted, that's what it creates.